Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Julia Yeary, Director of Military Family Projects at 0 to 3.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Gregory Leskin. I serve as Program Director for the Military and Veteran Families for the National Child Traumatic Stress Network. Today, Julia and I would like to discuss ways to help kids get a better night's sleep. Sleep is a very essential process for physical growth and optimal well-being. Parents can teach and reinforce the foundational skills and practices of good sleep hygiene when children are still young and growing. For older children, it's never too late to return to these practices to reinforce getting more than 10 hours of sleep per night. For many children, staying home has meant major changes to their normal routines, including attending in-person school, getting less physical exercise, and increasing use of digital devices. All of these factors may be playing a role in disrupting children's quality of sleep. According to the National Sleep Foundation, even before the pandemic, there are estimates that a third of children aged 2 to 5 and 15% of school-age children routinely having trouble falling or staying asleep. It's quite possible that as a result of the pandemic and the loss of normal routines and increased stress and worry, that even more children and youth may be having difficulties falling and staying asleep. In addition to sleep quality, it is possible that your child experiences other sleep problems, including having bad dreams or recurrent nightmares, sleep panic, bedwetting, sleep talking or walking. All of these type of sleep issues may occur at some point, but if they continue to occur following a major life event, a traumatic experience or loss, you might consider speaking with a pediatrician or mental health counselor. Having a child who has difficulty falling asleep can also be very frustrating for parents, as they too may be impacted by the loss of sleep. Sleep strategies can take time to become effective, so it's very important to have patience with your child, remain calm and positive, and convey to your child your belief that they can regain their ability to fall and stay asleep. I could share that in our house, we need to rebalance our children's screen time and bedtime every once in a while. I've learned that it's really important to let my kids know ahead of time about any changes to the routine, such as turning off the TV earlier, so that the kids can anticipate the end of screen time and the start to bedtime routines. We're all really enjoying that time before lights out to read and talk and quiet down. We also know that we will not have any more snacks after we start this bedtime routine. Let's review some of our basics of sleep hygiene for children, which serve as the basic foundation for all other sleep support strategies. Let's start with the routine. Bedtime routine should consist of quieting activities that work to transition children to sleep time. Usually begin 20 to even 40 minutes prior to bedtime. This consists of brushing teeth and changing into pajamas, using quiet voices, and doing some quiet reading. These activities provide your children with some needed familiarity and the comfort of knowing about how their time will be structured. Next comes bedtime. The most important aspect of bedtime is having a consistent and realistic time that helps your child to fall asleep naturally. Try to keep the same bedtime during the week as the weekend. Making too many changes to bedtime can alter the child's natural biological clock and ability to fall asleep easily. Next, with more and more kids spending time on digital devices, it's become important to implement a break between screen time and sleep. There's some science to suggest that too much screen time might actually inhibit melatonin, a hormone that may promote sleep. We are recommending that families consider reviewing the Family Media Plan created by the American Academy of Pediatrics. You'll find the link here, to develop time limits on screen time, especially in the evening and prior to sleep. It is also very important to limit exposure to scary or violent content that might hinder sleep. If your child plays games or watches videos or even engages in scary discussions with their peers, try to make sure to limit that exposure prior to bedtime. If your child continues to have intrusive, scary thoughts after bedtime, it is important to reassure your child about their safety and protection from those harmful ideas or images. Finally, if your child is having difficulty falling or staying asleep, they might need more physical activity during the day. Exercise and getting plenty of sunshine may be two of the most excellent ways to help children fall asleep and stay asleep without problems. Not to mention reduce their feelings of stress and worry and increase their sense of overall well-being. However, try not to exercise or run around too much too close to bedtime, as this might keep the kids too aroused and excited when it's actually time to go to sleep.
Do you know when parents can start establishing a healthy sleep habit for their child? Right away, when your child is born. Let's face it, when your baby is a newborn, all you want to do is hold him or her and just kind of marvel in the miracle of their birth, especially when they aren't crying. Okay, so maybe you delay this a little bit so that you get to hold your infant more, because it seems like the first couple of weeks, all that your child does is sleep. However, if you get in the habit of putting your baby down when they're drowsy, starting when your baby's about, a month or so old, but before putting them down before they're deeply asleep into their safe sleep place, it helps your baby learn and reinforce that they can fall asleep without you. As your baby grows, establishing a routine and then keeping baby on that routine will help their sense of security and their sense of predictability of knowing what's going to come next, right? And that's going to help them to fall asleep on their own too. I think investing in a quality portable crib so that no matter where you are, you can help your baby keep that sleep routine. Having a good sleep routine is really important, especially when there are other potentially stressful things going on in your life, like the pandemic, or also deployments or high op tempo. This is also a good place to remind you about how to make sure your baby's safe when they're sleeping. Sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS, is a real threat. And you can decrease the risk by following the recommendations of the American Academy of Pediatrics, making sure that baby always sleeps alone without any toys or blankets or you in their sleep space, and that they're put down to sleep fully on their back for the first year of their life, and that they sleep in a safe crib or bassinet with a very firm mattress that has been approved by the Consumer Product Safety Commission. Bed sharing is not recommended for the baby's first year of life because baby can accidentally be smothered. If you're tired, it's especially important that you don't lie down with baby in your bed or on the couch, because you might accidentally fall asleep with potentially tragic results. However, the AAP highly recommends that your baby sleep in the same room as you, optimally the first year of their life and at least for the first 6 months. Why? Because the research shows that parents are more likely to notice if the baby does experience any distress. There are special bassinets made right now that can keep baby right next to your bedside, close to you, while providing your baby with their own safe place to sleep. You can learn lots more about safe sleep at aap.org that you'll see in the links below.
In addition to sleep hygiene strategies, there are some additional approaches parents can take to help their children fall and stay asleep. One approach is through a form of cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia that parents can try with their children. This really means helping your child to identify any problems that might interfere with their ability to fall asleep, and together find some solutions. The first thing is to try to talk with your child about any issues they might have with falling asleep. For example, is your child missing their friends or family? Are they worrying about an upcoming move? Or do they have thoughts about coronavirus or any fears that they or their parents might become sick? Once you hear from your child about their concerns or fears, you're able to provide empathy and understanding for your child's concerns. This is also an opportunity to encourage your child to think brave thoughts. Read and learn about bravery, and then encourage them to practice overcoming their worries in order to relax and fall asleep. Share and model your confidence in your child that they will be able to achieve their goal to fall asleep after listening to and acknowledging and validating their concerns. If your child is asking you to stay in bed with them, you might want to help the child to minimize their dependence on a parent to fall asleep. If you as a parent are staying with your child in order for them to fall asleep, it may be very helpful to provide your child with reassurances that they are brave and will be able to fall asleep, and gradually increase your physical distance from your child before it is time for them to fall asleep. It is very natural for parents and children to fall asleep together, especially during times of stress. However, try as quickly as possible to regain more typical sleep routine and structure to help everyone to fall and stay asleep. In the long run, this will allow your child to know that they can and will fall asleep on their own and reduce any worry or concerns that they will not be able to fall and stay asleep.
Back to babies. When your baby gets a little bit older, around 6 months old, your baby's going to begin to settle into a recognizable sleep pattern. However, some children still haven't learned how to fall asleep on their own. So what do? Well, some parents get advice to let baby cry it out through different methods, usually referred to as sleep training. Other parents get advice to just use quiet activity and just really calm, still, to stay with their child until baby is sleepy and then put them down to sleep. Sometimes we refer to this as bedtime fading. So which is better? A study done that's reported in the June 2016 Pediatrics might help you decide what to do. Now, some parents worry that letting their baby cry themselves to sleep will stress their baby too much and cause problems with attachment, like my baby's going to think I abandoned them. Well, according to the study, researchers found that infants whose parents use this cry out method, actually their baby fell asleep an average of 13 minutes sooner, and also woke up significantly less often during the night. And there were no significant differences in stress levels based on the salivary cortisol readings of the infant, no evidence of increased parental stress or mood problems, and no decline in measurements of parent-child attachment. In other words, both parent and baby had no bad psychological effects. But some parents still have anxiety about letting their baby cry it out. So you'll be happy to know that Dr. Michael Gradazar, who's the director of the Flinders University Child and Adolescent Sleep Clinic, and his colleagues, said that the bedtime fading group showed nearly as large a decrease, 10 minutes in sleep time, that it took for babies to fall asleep. This group also saw no change in the number of nighttime awakenings compared to the control group. So talk to your child's medical provider if you have questions about this, or a new parent support home visitor about how to help your child sleep based on what you're comfortable with. The most important thing, pick a method of teaching your child to go to sleep and stick with it. Consistency and routine make a difference, so your young child knows what to expect. As Dr. Leskin said, set the mood for sleep with your routine. I know in my house when my kids were growing up, about an hour before bedtime, we would start with bath and then books and then song and then bed. and then did the same thing about half an hour before nap time. But it's kind of funny, when my kids figured out I couldn't sing, we had to eliminate the song. They wouldn't let me sing to them anymore. I was really sad. But the idea is having this routine with them, right? Helping them know that this is the ritual we go through, and then it's time to sleep. I also encourage you to try some mindful techniques within your routine if your child's having any difficulty sleeping. I use gentle face stroking, where you just really gently stroke your baby's face, and then back rubs with my little ones. And I continued to use it when my children got older and they had a hard time falling asleep. Maybe they had a big test coming up, or they were worried about a social activity, or anything that might have been. For my son, it was the big game because he was really into sports. So using these relaxation techniques of gentle face stroking and back rubs. Also using imagery. I asked my son or my daughter to imagine that they were floating on a cloud, and that they were safe, and that they were warm, and building kind of on a hypnotic story about feeling relaxed and sleepy and safe. My kids tell me they still use this technique as grown-ups when they find it difficult to fall asleep. We hope these tips give you some ideas for helping your children sleep just a little bit better. And perhaps some of these tips will help your sleep too. You can always learn more on 0 to 3's app, Babies on the Home Front, where you can watch videos on what to do when your baby's fussy, or on the ABCs of safe sleep. And you'll also find quite a few resources on sleep on the 0 to 3 website at www.0to3.org. Dr. Leskin and I encourage you to check out sleep resources on Military OneSource too. Also, talk to your child's healthcare provider, or contact a military family life counselor if you'd like some help working out a plan for improving your child's sleep. Dr. Leskin and I want to thank you for what you do every day for your family and for our country. And happy dreams.
Happy dreams.